Kryptonite Podcast. I'm Mark Stores, and with me as always is...
Crap.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Thank you for joining us. Hey, check out our newly launched Patreon campaign.
Please do.
Crap. It's a deal.
We have... it's patreon.com/Kryptonite Podcast. Wow. I don't even know I'm not even sure what just happened. Let's try that again. Patreon.com/Kryptonite Podcast. The link for that will be in the description of this show. We have the $1 tier. We have the $5 tier. We have more tiers opening up soon, so be sure to check that out. Social medias, the Instagram, the Twitters, the Facebooks. Ratings and reviews are always appreciated. You can do that on the iTunes, the Apple Podcast apps. We have some merch stores, too, at the Big Cartel and at the TeePublic. Those will all be in the link of this show in the description, because if I give those links, it'll be too long.
Indeed.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's get to the story. Let's cut through everything.
Oh, my God.
Under a minute.
The bombast and foolishness.
Get to it.
So just giving them the goods.
The Derry Fairy.
Wow.
Are you ready? All right, so let's get started with, in the dead of winter, in the middle of the 20th century, a solitary axeman ventured into an isolated stretch of New Hampshire forest to cut down pine trees for the fast-approaching yuletide season. Little could this intrepid seasonal businessman have predicted that his annual money-making venture would land him smack dab in the middle of one of the creepiest unidentified creature confrontations on the books.
Wow. Yuletide creepazoidal.
Yuletide creature confrontation.
Yuletide
Jeez.
scumbag.
All right. Well, Robert, this is a Derry Fairy. Tell us all about it.
Right. Sometimes known as Space Town due to the fact that it was the birthplace of America's very first astronaut, Alan Shepard. Derry, New Hampshire is a picturesque New England community near the Massachusetts border that may well have been the site of one of mankind's most bizarre interactions with an utterly inexplicable entity of unknown origins.
I did not know that Massachusetts had Space Town.
Well, no.
No, I'm sorry.
No, Derry, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire has Space Town.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it borders Massachusetts.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's near
Space Town.
Massachusetts.
I know. I thought
Yeah,
that's too. I'm
Space
like,
Town,
oh,
yeah.
God, Space
I
Town.
know, it sounds like something from Disney.
Yeah.
Space Town.
Let's go to Space Town.
I know. Who wouldn't want to?
Space
But
Town.
really, it's just the, bucolic hometown of
No.
Right.
old-timey
no, you need
astronaut.
future rockets.
I know. Wouldn't it be great if it was like Tomorrowland and
Time
tied it in
corn.
New Hampshire? Corn.
I want time corn.
Everyone does.
All right, Space Town is not in New Hampshire. Robert, continue.
Although it supported a population of over 33,000 in 2017, in the 1950s, Derry had a relatively small population of less than 6,000 people, and at least one being that was anything but. Mm-hmm. The event that would change one Alfred G. Horn's life began in the waning hours of December 15th, 1956. Alfred was alone in the frozen expanse of woods, chopping down Christmas trees in order to help support his family, Annie and Marion Horn, presumably his wife and daughter, though those names were just thrown out there.
That would be odd if they had the same last name and weren't.
It just it would be odd. They live in the same house. It could be his two sisters. They could have like one of
Could
those
be, yeah.
No.
super bachelor relationships, and that's okay.
Sure.
But
Totally.
I'm assuming it's a wife and daughter.
Let's.
With whom he shared a home on Berry Road in the 1940s and 50s. The winter sun was beginning to dip low on the horizon when Alfred was suddenly overcome by the sensation that he was being watched. He paused and straightened his spine. His calloused, glove-covered hands were still clinging the wooden handle of the axe when he laid eyes on something that was, to him, utterly incomprehensible. The shocked woodsman locked eyes with a bipedal beast that stood just under 2 feet tall. It was vaguely humanoid in shape, but that's where the comparison to humans ended.
The battle begins.
Yes. Well, yeah, sort of.
Helm's Deep. The war has just begun.
You shall not pass. Yes, I said it.
Man axe Christmas tree
That's right.
monster.
2 foot tall.
Alfred described the creatures as being neither human nor animal, with a large, hairless, dome-shaped cranium complete with floppy ears that dangled like those of a basset hound.
Kind of adorable.
All right, so less than 2 feet tall.
Okay.
Big old dome.
All right.
Sloppy-ass basset hound ears.
Cool.
So far, you want to hug it.
Sort of.
It had 2 slit-like nostrils instead of a nose.
Nope.
And where its
Yeah.
eyes ought to have been were a pair of holes
No.
that were covered with a translucent film-like substance akin to the membrane protecting the eyes of some fish and reptiles. And I think that's the nictating
We had
membrane?
this.
We did this. We
this
talked
recently.
in the,
yeah.
in the old goblin story.
The
Yeah.
one from Australia.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're hanging out in the humpy.
Yeah,
This
that's
ass-
right.
asshole-
The old humpy
And it was
Yeah.
the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
So
the physical
it's-
manifestation
It's
scene.
interesting that these type of tiny semi-humanoid, very vaguely humanoid creatures
Jerkoids
Yeah.
show up.
But at least
have
the
weird
one
eyes,
from
yeah.
fucking Australia had bulbous eyes. This thing's got like 2 fucking holes in its head.
Okay, weird.
It's horrible.
It's kind of creepy.
As if all of that weren't quite weird enough, the inhuman entity was stark naked with a wrinkled, vivid green, almost elephantine epidermis. Big pile of wrinkles.
All right, weird.
Emerging from its torso were stumpy limbs that had what Alfred described as stubby hands and toeless feet.
How does that thing walk with toeless feet?
That just
It's got no grip.
no. It
It's got
sucks.
flat.
It sucks to be
It
you.com.
can't join the military.
It
got flat feet.
It cannot defend
No.
elephantine
Well, it
wrinkled
depends how
kind.
it bends, I guess.
I mean, maybe. So does it have
You
like
don't
a
need separate toes, but you usually need something to bend.
like a weird
there,
like,
right?
like that Godzilla ankle?
Oh.
Yeah, the weird Zilla ankle.
Oh,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Like, well, I mean, like elephants
Yeah.
walk.
No,
True,
I mean
they
maybe
do.
Without,
maybe he
like-
just didn't see. Maybe it's like flat padded feet like an elephant. It could be.
Or it's got 8 weird toes underneath its foot and it scurries.
Oh God, that'd be weird.
Gross.
It's like a version, like a millipede.
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine?
Kill it. Can we kill this thing? Can we kill this immediately?
You're jumping to death.
Yeah,
Normally I do that.
I'm
Okay.
doing a mark
All
right
right,
now.
wow.
Just
All right.
destroy it.
All right,
Nuke it.
For all we know now,
I nuke it.
Acceptable fatalities.
Loss of life has been determined. Kill it.
all right, stubby hands, apparently toeless, not millipede-esque feet.
Okay, cool.
That we
At this
know of.
point, it seems as if time, or at least Alfred's interpretation of it, had slowed to a crawl. Horn claimed that he and the bizarre being simply stared at each other for the better part of 20 minutes.
Come
my
on.
God, you
It's
can't
a
do
20-minute
that.
staring
No, I
contest.
know, that's a
Can't
long
do that.
time, I know.
You're married or you're in love.
Stop it.
Yeah, no, that's a fight or fuck thing.
Yeah, totally.
100%.
Yeah.
At the end of that, you're either fucking throat to throat.
Yeah.
Or you're like
Throat to throat.
balls to groin.
There you go.
Minutes.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Stop.
Yeah, really.
Both of them were either unwilling or unable to make a move. Could this be a close encounter-like case of missing time, or just one of the all-time great stare-offs in paranormal history?
It's clearly a stare off, but I mean,
Oh my God! Did Tarantino direct this?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
Yeah. Is this the opening of the movie?
Fucking just
Really?
a
Yeah.
slow
Yeah.
look.
Peck and paw.
Oh my God. Alfred claimed that it began to dawn on him that no one was going to believe that he had actually had a run-in with a little green man monster in the woods. Fearing that he might be labeled as a liar or, worse yet, a madman, Alfred began to silently formulate a plan to capture the diminutive beastie.
I like how this guy thinks.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. No, this is good so far.
Yeah.
Like he's like, no, I'm right. I'm going to capture this fucker.
No, I got.
And you're going to know.
The world must know
Exactly.
that whatever the fuck this is,
Okay, I'm in.
it is.
All right. What did he do, Rob?
Without warning, the woodsman lunged forward and tackled the wizened wild thing to the forest floor. Yeah. But the moment he made contact with the squirming creature, it began to emit a series of blood-curdling shrieks. Nobody needs that.
No.
Like, I mean, growls and trying to bite. All these things are terrifying and bad, but just start screaming. Just like this shrill, high-pitched scream.
Sort of like the Australian. I can't remember what it's called, Rob.
like Madura. What is it called?
The Madura Goblin.
We're-
Goblin of Madura.
We are not saying it right.
No, we're not.
We could reference it.
Mandura.
Yeah.
Mandura Goblin.
I think you're probably
The
right.
Mandora candidate?
Oh, the Mandurian candidate.
There you go.
Face to face with this screeching green, eyeless abomination, Alfred's courage instantaneously dissipated, and he leapt to his feet and fled from the woodland thickets in a blind panic, leaving behind the squealing fiend and, presumably, all of the trees he had chopped down. The Derry Fairy, as it came to be known, was never seen again. At least in this decade.
Oh, we got
you
something
can't-
coming
oh,
up.
I do?
man.
All right.
Alfred, for his part, kept mum on the subject of a wrinkly green wood monster for 6 years until he decided to break his self-imposed silence in a pair of letters written in 1962 and 1964, which he sent to astronomer and UFO investigator Walter H. Webb. This seems to indicate that either Alfred had come to believe that he'd encountered an extraterrestrial, or that he simply did not know where else to turn for help in identifying the strange being. I think either's valid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 56. You're like, at least this guy studies anomalous entities, so maybe he'll have an idea. And plus, he probably knows the woods pretty good. He's been out there presumably for more than a few years cutting down Christmas trees.
Yeah, totally.
It's his hometown forest.
Making money.
Maybe he was even playing there as a boy. So when you see something you've never seen before, and you got to remember, it's mid-50s, so UFOs are all the rage.
That's the deal.
They're everywhere. They're ubiquitous. So
everything's an alien, man.
You can understand why he might think, this thing does not seem like it should be from Earth.
Right.
Maybe. But that's still leaping, jumping the gun, if you will. As to what conclusions Webb drew, I can't say. But after Alfred made his report, accounts of his encounter began appearing in books such as Joseph Citro's Passing Strange and others, especially by Janet and Colin Board.
Okay, cool.
Who are this phenomenal couple that ran like the, I won't remember the name of it, but it's like the Paranormal Images Archive. Like they did a lot of great pioneering work on Owlman of Cornwall and other things. So I think it's Colin and Janet Board. But anyway, they wrote about it too, and a lot of other people. So whatever Webb thought about this, I don't know. I don't know if he agreed that it might be an extraterrestrial or if he thought it was something else. But he did disseminate this information. But I think anonymously. I think it only came out years later that it was Alfred Horn who actually had this sighting.
Okay, cool.
Still others theorize that the Derry Fairy might be literally what its name designates, a member of a species of perhaps magical, forest-dwelling wee folks such as elves, goblins, or dwarves. Some further deduce that these ethereal entities piggybacked on the beliefs of the Scotch-Irish immigrants who settled the region in 1719, and perhaps seeded the woods with these beings and their ilk through faith alone.
A Tulpa situation?
Well, I don't know. I mean, how do elves and brownies and fairies work? So one of the things that's always intrigued me is the idea that, I guess maybe it's sort of like what Neil Gaiman dealt with in American Gods, that you can bring mythologies with you geographically. And so if, say, a supernatural entity, like, say, Pukwudgies exist in Native American lore, so they're already in the New World.
Right.
But leprechauns don't.
Right.
So if Irish immigrants came over, can you seed the idea, if these things are like you said, like Tulpa-esque, if they are based on belief and idea as much as they are semi-corporeal entities that we share the world with, can you make them migrate with you based solely on belief? I don't know. I don't even know if I even buy that idea, but I've always been intrigued by the thought that supernatural entities maybe, well, this kind of goes back to ultra-terrestrial theory, maybe feed on belief as much as, say, ultra-terrestrials feed on fear.
Right.
And you can maybe help
bring them with you. Yeah.
They can migrate with you, perhaps.
Totally.
And if that's the case, when people say that these things might have come with them with the Scotch-Irish,
right,
that's plausible. But there's an even more plausible theory. And that is that there is a very similar creature to the one described as the Derry Fairy in Cherokee lore. Really? So I'm gonna read this Cherokee legend of a creature called the Tsundijwi. I hope I'm doing that right. Once some young men of the Cherokee set out to see what was in the world and traveled south until they came upon a tribe of little people called the Tsundijwi, with very queer-shaped bodies, hardly tall enough to reach up to a man's knee, which is notably smaller than 3 feet.
That's weensy.
Yeah, it's
tiny, yeah.
The Tsundijwi had no houses but lived in nests scooped in the sand and covered with dried grass. The little fellows were so weak and puny that they could not fight at all, and they were in constant terror from the wild geese and other birds that used to come in great flocks from the south to make war upon them.
They're fighting
the
birds.
The war birds.
The war for the migrating geese.
The geese that make pretty V's in the sky.
The fucking seagull, great seagull
are the fucking
war.
blitzkrieg horror of this species.
They would be. I mean, if you're that small, yeah.
To make war upon them.
They'd be dragons, yeah.
Just at the time that the travelers got there, they found the little men in great fear. because there was a strong wind blowing from the south, and it blew white feathers and down along the sand, so that the Tusundijwi knew their enemies were coming not far behind.
Just imagine living in fear of geese.
Oh my God!
No,
God, it's
I'm not
terrible.
going to do
It's
it.
terrible.
Really?
I mean, I do live in fear of geese, but for
Who doesn't?
different
Yeah.
reasons. But
Well, I mean, elephants don't care about lions.
No, but
we
I mean-
would be all fucked if we were living in the savannah.
these poor guys are just tiny little trying to live in the dirt and cover themselves in grass, get attacked by geese.
I know they don't know what to do.
No, they
But
can't
you know
fight.
what? The Cherokee have a plan.
Oh, good.
We're going to get with this.
All right.
The Cherokee asked them why they did not defend themselves, but they said they could not because they did not know how to. There was a time. Frustration. Those rat
That was
puny
literally-
bastards.
That was literally Chris giving up.
He quit on it.
He just went, oh, God damn it.
It's impossible.
They just don't know the way of war
Yeah.
with geese.
Okay.
Impossible.
Okay, well, to be fair, birds are formidable opponents. So,
Are they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, doves are just, I can't
They're
even.
hard. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I got to run.
All right.
Yeah.
But if you're less than a knee high, geese can be dicks.
Yeah, totally. Ducks can be a problem.
Just an uppercut.
a sparrow could fuck your day up.
Uppercut. I'm
Uppercut.
going to keep saying uppercut.
So the Cherokee.
There was no time to make bows and arrows, but the travelers told them to take sticks for clubs and showed them where to strike the birds on the necks to kill them.
Okay, good.
So
They're
I don't
training
know,
them.
did they get like sample geese? Surround them with these fucking little.
I see the 80s montage now.
Yeah, I know. Survivors playing in the background.
Around, hit the fucking dog in the neck. No.
The wind blew for several days, and at last the birds came. So many that they were like a great cloud in the air and alighted in the sands.
Oh, no, it's a Death Star.
Oh, it's coming.
birds.
You can see, it is. It's totally. It's coming. They're dusting up the sand. The
Yeah.
little things are waiting. It's
That's no
intense.
moon.
That's no moon.
It's 8 million geese.
The little men ran to their nests, and the birds followed and stuck their long bills to pull them out to eat them.
Oh, these dickhead birds are
Now-
carnivorous like that.
Well, I don't know.
Wait a
What did
minute.
geese eat?
I don't
Does anyone
know.
what geese
Shit.
eat? But
Geese eat geese shit.
all right.
That's what they do.
They-
They shit and turn around and eat it.
Really? Really?
'Cause they're
fucking
assholes.
goose expert over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking.
I don't know,
Yeah, I run
man.
the goose sanctuary, Rob.
well,
down at the old pool.
Maybe they're omnivores,
Okay.
or maybe these small creatures. I
don't
didn't
think
want to
they're
go there, but I feel
carnivores.
like I have to now. Are plant-based, living, intelligent creatures that don't know the way of
your
war.
dream of emotional plants.
I'm telling you, they're there.
Oh,
This
you
planet
think
is
they're-
more plant
Yeah.
than people.
There's
In-
plants
innocent
everywhere.
man.
Respect sentient plant life. I'm just throwing it out there.
And then all the
if
listeners-
geese are vegetarians, they might be eating plant people.
Then all the listeners send me
Okay,
all
well,
the
then
stories to
that's
back up your
fine.
bullshit emotional plants.
Oh, really? Because it's
And then I'm
bullshit.
like, this is amazing. I'll send it to
do
Rob.
all the listeners come and confirm your theory or mine?
Yours.
Oh, so suck on that for a little bit. Enjoy your plant overlords.
For the record, I do send you those. I send every
Yeah, you
time
do.
someone
Every
sends
time.
me,
I
I
love
send
it.
them
I
to
know.
you.
You
So
always
I
do.
pass the information on so that you and
And
your
in all fairness,
hippies can be hippies.
I do not lord it over you.
No, you, oh, really?
I do not.
Okay.
Wow.
Whatever.
You are falsely portraying reality, sir.
Wow, I know.
Can we get back to the Great Geese
Yes,
War?
the geese war. Fine.
All right. The little men ran to their nests, and the birds followed and stuck in their long bills to pull them out and eat them. This time, though, the Tusunjwi, I think I'm saying it right, had their clubs, and they struck the birds about the head and neck,
Good. They're fighting back.
as the Cherokee had shown them, and killed so many that at last the others were glad to spread their wings and fly away again to the south. So they killed so many of these marauding hell geese
Right.
that the others were like, fuck this.
And they
left.
bucked.
South
Okay.
again.
All right. I mean, but okay. All right. Well, is there a description of these things? Do they look like the Derry Fairy?
Well, this is what they're describing.
Are they, I mean, do they have the floppy ears and the weird skin?
yes.
They're naked.
They have large ears, queer-shaped bodies.
Okay.
They're a little smaller than the 3-foot-tall one that was seen in
Okay,
Derry.
all right.
But there's been a lot of people that have associated these two things together.
Okay.
Let me
All right,
finish this
cool.
part up. The little men thanked the Cherokee for their help and gave them the best they had.
What is that?
I don't even know.
What the
Is it
fuck
like
does that
fucking
even
Pabst
mean?
Blue Ribbon and some fucking T-bone steaks.
Give them the best they had. Course,
Holy
like-
shit. Is
The
Keith
best.
Boots back all of a sudden?
No, but that's literally that is a commercial.
Gave them their best.
You guys,
When you're-
what do we got to give them now? They helped us.
Their best.
Give them the best
Yeah,
they had.
totally.
There is no way of knowing.
It's a new truck commercial.
Give them the best.
I mean, they live in fucking sand holes with dried grass.
But the
What is
Cherokee
best
taught
they
them how
have?
to defend themselves from the Sky Devil.
Yeah, but
with
the
stick
best
clubs.
they had
yeah.
Yeah.
was a fear of birds. Is that the best
Yeah,
they had?
basically. I mean,
Maybe
they
they
probably
bestowed
they,
upon the
they couldn't give them
Cherokees.
anything.
A terror of birds.
I mean, what are they, farmers of dirt or whatever? Like, they
Who
don't- they
knows?
don't-
Farmers
Who knows
of
how they-
fear.
You know what?
Oh.
Why would they
farm
need
your
to farm
stalks
when they
of
get their
hate.
nutrition from the sun, being chlorophyll-based creatures?
Oh, that's right.
Suck it.
I forgot. Oh, things feel feelings and they don't.
The little men thanked the Cherokee douche
hippie.
for their help and
Wow.
gave them the best
Oh my
they
God.
had.
We're fighting. We're
until-
fighting. We're breaking
We are
up.
fighting.
Until the travelers, yes, we are, went on to see other tribes. This is where things take a little turn.
Oh no, they're cannibals.
The Cherokee heard afterwards that the birds came again several times, but that the Tusundijwi always drove them off with their clubs until a flock of sandhill cranes came. You know, those pricks. The pricks of the skies.
See, the geese didn't. They're like, we need the big guns.
Yeah.
and they got the fuck sucking cranes.
Did the cranes eat them all?
Good.
Well, let's find out.
I don't know. I don't know
There's a
why I'm
massacre.
siding with the birds on this one. I don't know why.
Don't ever side with the birds.
Why
There was
are you pissed at
I
these
don't
little things?
know.
What do
I'm
they even
not.
do?
I don't know
There's a
why.
massacre.
I feel like the birds were just doing nature.
And
It-
these things weren't?
No.
Rob's
Were there abominations by their sheer existence?
Rob's fucking vegan friends over here aren't fucking.
They're not vegan. They're not eating
they
other
were
pla-
dumb
They're
enough
eating
not
sun.
to know that to club a fucking goose.
Well, no, they,
And someone had to say, "Oh, just pick up a stick
Oh,
and hit
so-
it."
so-
Oh my God! I didn't know that.
it's a crime to be a pacifist.
Yes.
Real.
Yes.
Here we go.
So
hippie.
Gandhi's a fucking slut.
No jerk.
Wow, really? That's fucking.
It's literally the first
Yeah,
adjective
holy
that popped
shit.
in my
I
head.
know.
Why? Of all things to say about Gandhi,
don't know.
really? Oh, Gandhi, or whatever.
I own like 17 books about the man. I love him. All right. Cranes came.
Good.
Sandhill.
All right.
They were so tall that the little men could not reach up to strike them on the neck.
Duh.
And so, at last, the cranes killed them all.
Well, that's Darwinism for you.
But they
right there.
clearly didn't, if indeed one showed up in Derry in 1956.
I think the one in Derry might be something a little bit different, though. I don't know. I
could
might
be.
have to get a little bit off track here with that. I think the one in Derry is something
we're
totally
gonna get
different.
one little taste. One
Okay.
little taste of a Derry Fairy-esque creature.
Okay.
This is from late February 1981 in Arnold, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
5 boys aged 11 to 16 were playing that Saturday in the Arnold Railway Yard when an 11-year-old boy named Chris saw the little creature squatting down with its back to him. Determined to catch it, he crept up on it. He grabbed it and lifted it up, shouting for his friends to help. It wriggled, twisted, and squealed so much that Chris dropped it and it ran into a drain pipe. The boys described the creature as green in color, naked with no hair or fur, but with a wrinkled elephant-like skin, which felt
see?
dry and rubbery.
That sounds more like the Derry
That sounds like the
Fairy.
Derry Fairy.
Yeah.
But it's too big.
It was just under 3 feet tall.
No, because it was
The
2 foot.
humanoid in shape, with nipples. That's a key.
I like how you-
Well, I can't-
I like that we locked eyes when
Yeah.
you said nipples.
Nipples.
Mark, nipples.
Just so you know.
All right, they got nips.
Large ears, which is again consistent with Derry.
Nipple size?
And an inch-long tail.
Oh,
Which
interesting.
very easily
Tail?
could not have seen by Mr. Horn because
Yeah,
he
was jumped on.
he was
it or
looking
whatever.
face to face and then
Yeah.
tackled it to the
Inch-long
ground and then freaked
tail.
out.
Okay.
And an inch-long tail is not something you're going to really
Well,
notice.
that's fucking-
That's vestigial
It's
at
a little.
best.
It's a little nub.
It's a little
yeah,
nubbins,
tiny.
yeah.
You didn't notice that unless you're looking at its asshole.
Derry Fairy
Get it
proctology.
together.
It also walked upright on
Okay.
2 legs. All right. So what we have are Cherokee tales of green big-eared people
All right.
that got destroyed by the sand cranes.
Right.
After they
Those
defeated
seemed
the Great
shorter.
War of
They
the
said it was
Goose.
like knee.
But maybe they were maybe
But
maybe they were babies.
That's really short.
Okay.
Maybe they weren't the same thing. I'm just saying they
All right.
been
I'm
lumped-
just saying.
I'm
Okay.
presenting the story because they have been lumped together traditionally by other
all right.
researchers.
Okay, but that's
Not
like
because I
half the
necessarily
height.
subscribe to it.
All right. Okay.
But I do think there is something to the 56 and the 81 sightings being uncannily similar, even though
Totally. Yeah. No.
one
I
took
do
place
too,
in
yeah.
Arnold, Pennsylvania, and the other took
Skin,
place in
everything,
Derry,
yeah.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a migratory track somewhere
be.
through New
Okay,
York.
okay,
Could be.
northeast.
All right. Yeah. So
Perhaps.
to me, though, honestly, this sounds like a classic puckwudgie. just the way that it's described.
That's interesting.
With the ears and like the great colored skin and everything, it
Well-
sounds kind of like it.
Well, it's interesting that, not to sound like a douche, but ethnocentric Europeans would say, clearly these are elves brought over from the old country, when it seems like whether
It's
or
Native
not
American,
we
yeah.
buy the Cherokee legends,
Right.
though I'm intrigued by them to be sure, that why wouldn't these things be indigenous to here?
Right.
And
Yeah.
the other thing is, regardless of whether or not they're plant-based, and I say that half tongue-in-cheek, something that's green and small and not particularly mobile still could probably hide pretty easily from us. If it was
Yeah,
a very sparse
totally.
population and they happened to be intelligent, if they screeched like banshees whenever they got touched and like struggled to get away, most people wouldn't want to hold on to them. They don't seem to be like, I mean, maybe wolves and other things would predate on them, but human beings probably wouldn't want to go out for elephant-eared, wrinkle-sacked, baby troll things. So I think things like this might be able to exist in the wilds of Canada and the Northeast and wherever else without interacting with us, if indeed they were vegetarians and they could just live off the grasses and fucking fungi or whatever of the forest.
Right.
There's a possibility things like this could exist, and that when they heard a human coming, they just drop to the ground and they're wrinkly green. They look like moss, maybe. You just don't even look at them.
What is it? What do you think it is?
Oh,
what do you mean by
that's a whole different fucking kettle of fish.
you're saying a thing, but what do you think that thing is? You think it's
my
plant-based? Do you
guess
think it's
is this.
organic?
No,
Do you think
no.
it's a little human?
I mean, listen,
a little...
I do believe in the sentience of plants. Pants.
I don't.
After
Yeah,
Dragon
no.
Yaw, I do
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
in the sentience of red pants.
Levi's aren't alive, and neither's
yeah,
lettuce.
no.
it's
But
not.
khakis can sometimes emote.
No. And asparagus can't
corduroy's
for shit.
dead.
Oh, don't deny asparagus. All right,
I love
so
asparagus.
Let's table. I do
best.
too. It's delicious.
Screaming or not.
Let's table the idea of smart feeling plants for now. I think these are carbon-based biological fauna animals that that live maybe traditionally in the northeastern portion of the United States and Canada. No borders really apply to these things. That probably retreated into much more isolated wilds as human encroachment came in, as so many animals have to do. And that are desperately going to try to avoid us, that are occasionally and very rarely seen in Pennsylvania and in New Hampshire, and perhaps the intelligent interactive thing with the Cherokee I'm going to table for now. Just talking about the 81 and 56 encounters, I think every now and again they're seen, but for the most part they would avoid us like the plague. They wouldn't try to talk with us. They would hide themselves as quickly as they can. And if they're just scavengers or, like I say, vegetarians, they would have no need to really interact with the human race. So I think they are not phantasmic, but biological creatures that are indigenous to the forests of North America, that are just really good at hiding and don't need to interact with us and would avoid us with every ounce of their being.
So it's a puckwudgie.
Maybe.
Well, a puckwudgie. Do you think
It's
a
what it
puckwudgie-
sounds like.
Do you think that's a creature of legend, or do you think that's an
Well,
animal?
Part of the thing here from the Wikipedia entry is Native Americans believe that puckwudgies were once friendly to humans, but then turned against them and are best left alone. According to lore, a person who annoyed a puckwudgie would be subject to nasty tricks by it, or subject to being followed by the puckwudgie. Who would
stalked?
Yeah, who would cause
Wudgie
trouble for
stalked?
them. Yeah. They're known to kidnap people, push them off of cliffs, attack their victims with short knives and spears, and use sand to blind them.
That sounds like Homo floresiensis. They were
Sort
said
of.
to hunt pygmy elephants. They were said to attack in legends. On the Isle of Flores, ancient legends said human beings were terrified of these creatures because they
Right.
could be very violent or whatever. It sounds like ancestral memories of a very similar type of creature.
If this race of creatures did at one point live amongst humans and we were friendly, but for whatever reason some rift was
But that's you know what?
created.
That smacks of the Cherokee legends. Now, are puckwudgies described as being wrinkly, green, with dangly ears, slit
actually
noses?
they have super big ears. Yeah, let me look it up real quick here.
Because I've heard about puckwudgies, but I've also read that they're
Yeah.
hairy, that they're elven.
There is some versions of them with hair. There's some versions that are gray, some versions that are green. They're across the board.
I can't help but think that a lot of these are relic
apparently
memories
they're in Harry Potter too.
of
I guess.
ancestral hominoids.
I mean,
I don't watch Harry Potter. Do you guys? I don't know.
Puckwudgies are in Harry Potter.
Apparently, there's a house of Puckwudgie or something.
I'm
I
not
don't know.
familiar.
Whatever. I'm not sure.
look,
about
one
Harry
of the,
Potter.
one of the
read
main
all the
magic
books.
houses.
Look, there's it's actually kind of a cute drawing of one, but
Okay, so that's depicted as green with a porcupine-like hair
with, like, big
going down its back.
Yeah, I don't know about the hair, but
It looks like a troll, sort of like literally the 80s gimmick.
yeah,
troll.
yeah, absolutely. With a
I have to admit, I'm not an expert on puckwudgies.
No, me neither.
But these things that like the Derry Fairy seem to be very. Besides the fact that they're bipedal and have 4 limbs and a head and eyes, they're humanoid, but they're not like human-esque at all. They don't seem like elves or leprechauns or pixies or any of or even goblins. They seem to be a unique species unto themselves. And I think a unique species that, if indeed they did exist, could easily conceal themselves. If they live in sand and bramble, they could just shuffle under the underbrush. And when would you look twice at a wrinkly green thing and a bunch of bracken or fern?
Being that small, if at one point we did live alongside them, but being that small, they could very easily break off into like their own little civilization. We'd have no idea.
Yeah,
maybe some. Obviously,
it depends. If you're going to take into account the first Cherokee or whatever count, and then the second. In addition, one of them is really small, and one of them is just like dwarf.
One is
size,
one's like 11 inches.
Yeah,
one's
one's just like this fucking zippity doodah, and the other one's like
getting attacked by birds.
That's a big difference, really. If we're going to talk.
In all fairness,
the Cherokee legend, I'm going to take off the table completely.
But you can't.
I wouldn't.
You can't because we said it, so you can't take it off the table.
I know,
but here, let me do this for your convenience, because I agree with Chris. You can't take it off the table, but I would think that this description of things might be more like the puckwudgie, proto-humans that have a big enough brain to be able to interact, at least fundamentally, with modern humans, the Cherokee people at the time, and that maybe that was one species of, say, early hominoid or hominid that was able to at least somewhat intelligently interact and be taught how to use defensive weapons against the vicious geese and crane, though not so much against the crane.
The crane killed them all.
And that I would think that maybe the 1981 Derry or 1981 Pennsylvania case and the 1950s Derry Fairy case are of a different animal. Like, there's nothing to indicate that that's intelligent. It screams and struggles when it's grabbed. A guinea pig would do that. Any animal would do that. They're like, get the fuck off me. Or a fox, anything. Nothing wants to be grabbed that's wildlife. So I'm thinking that maybe what the Cherokees encountered and maybe what the puckwudgie are something that are very closely related in some ways to human beings and that you can interact with. And that this green, wrinkly, elephant-eared, slit-nosed, whole-eyed fuck all is an entirely different thing that is just an animal that wants to avoid us desperately and manages to do so very successfully, apparently.
Right. I'm going to go with breakaway species, I think.
Breakaway human species?
No.
So, wait, do you think they're the
what's
same
it breaking
thing?
away from?
I'm going with the whole puckwudgie theory. That's what I'm going with.
Well, explain what that is to you.
Well, it's that they once lived alongside with man, then there was some sort of rift or whatever, and then they just kind of...
So sort of like the way hobbits and elves and humans interact in a Tolkien-esque...
Just because I like to say the word puckwudgie.
I like puckwudgie.
You love
puckwudgie.
So you think they're the same thing? These two stories are describing the same thing.
I'm just from the Native American lore to what was described there, although they didn't attack the dude. Didn't attack him at all. He attacked it.
Both
and
cases,
puckwudgies are supposed to be like notoriously like vicious.
Yeah.
No, puckwudgie will fuck you up.
I gotta change my stance already.
Maybe.
Shit. Well, maybe, but not maybe.
But this
maybe
also
not.
lends.
Not if the Cherokee one was.
This lends corroboration to the Cherokee story, as Chris is, I think, trying to say, which is these things couldn't defend themselves against birds.
Right.
The 1981 case, they couldn't defend themselves against boys. The 1956 case couldn't defend themselves against the Christmas tree cutter. Across the board, these things are not attacking.
No,
they don't even know how to defend themselves against fundamental shit.
Well, see, now it's interesting though because kind of one of the big, not description, but one of the big attributes of the puckwudgies is that they're supposed to be vicious. They got knives and swords, and they set fires and push off cliffs.
Not that.
This is why I've always associated puckwudgies with proto-humanoids.
Right. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to take a pause for a second. Yeah. I'm going to change my stance on this because I got new information.
It's
and
America.
That's what you do.
And, and bright people always take in new information and change their perspectives.
That's right,
That's a sign of intelligence.
America. So I'm going to say do I gotta take the puckwudgie off the table? Shit.
You don't have to, but you can choose to.
Then
Can I just
yeah.
put it to the corner?
Hey, can you empower yourself and take the puckwudgie off the table?
I can empower myself and put him to the side.
All right.
Off the table to the side.
So on the corner.
Yeah.
Put the puckwudgie on the corner.
I might push it off
How
the corner
far is the
and kill it.
puckwudgie from Satan?
Ooh,
Satan
never
is
far
firmly in
away.
the center of the table,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
You can't take it
I don't
off.
even know what to
Always.
say about that one.
Always.
What about space giraffes? Where on the table do they fit?
They're always on the table.
All right, just want to make sure. All right.
Okay,
All right, so
maybe
puckwudgie
puckwudgie
on
not
the
so
edge
much.
of the table. Where are you going?
I mean, I guess just an unidentified animal that's been living alongside humans. Not necessarily proto-human, but was just like living alongside us the entire time.
There's nothing about it that indicates to me it is a relic species of human.
Yeah, not real. No, not
I mean,
at all.
But
it's just
except that it's
an
bipedal and
unidentified-
vaguely humanoid.
Just some weird unidentified animal, but it sounds like it was humanoid.
And the Cherokee legends imply, if
Humanoid.
indeed it's the same thing,
Right.
that they were intelligent enough to communicate with
To
humans
fight,
and say,
yeah.
I don't know what to do. And the Cherokees are like, listen, we can't build you bow and arrows because the geese are coming, but
Right.
here's a stick, beat its fucking
But I
head
feel like
in,
they could have.
Yeah.
live longer.
Yeah, I mean, it seems
That
like
implies direct verbal communication, though
Right.
that could be
Yeah, I know
totally.
that's-
It could be like, showing. It could be like sign
Right, yeah,
language.
like,
there's
yeah,
there's
sign
no
language, yeah.
reason to assume it's verbal communication.
yeah. I guess I'm just gonna go with unidentified species that
I mean, cryptozoology. The core of it is
unidentified species.
well, not necessarily the belief,
Or-
but the assumption that the evidence is significant enough in a lot of cases to indicate that there are species that are yet unclassified.
And I think that's what this is.
Yeah.
I'm there, Chris.
I don't know about that, but
Come on, get on board with cryptozoology.
no, there were.
Cryptozoology's your friend.
Yeah.
It's your buddy wants to
I'm
be
not
your
against
friend.
I love that.
Oh,
my
he,
song.
like,
Oh
my
he just
God.
he just did a weird little.
Cryptozoology.
He did a weird little jig in the chair.
Just
It was
dancing. and
adorable.
Like, come on, Chris, let's go to cryptozoology
Oh,
land.
yeah.
we got to get you fucking Uncle Crypto's
No one
fun
knows
power
what the fuck
hour.
this thing is.
No, I don't. You're poop like Pappy right now.
really are.
Yeah, you're doing some weird like doodly dee.
I love
So
it.
what do you think? What do you
I
think?
don't fucking know.
All right, good spot to start.
I know. Even though I just said you can't take the first one off the table,
The puckwudgie.
you almost have to. You almost.
Okay.
Not quite, because I feel like they could be different things, really.
they
But
very well could be.
I don't really know on this
You
one.
know-
Do you think it's corporeal or phantasmagorial?
That's the other thing. We haven't,
You
for
know,
once, we haven't
man.
even
Is it a
addressed
ghost?
We haven't talked about Cherokee propensity for diabetes. We
Yeah,
haven't
well,
talked about
well,
ultra-terrestrial.
that still doesn't
drugs, yeah.
answer whether they're the same thing or not.
But my inclination is not to think that they are supernatural. Because
Not really, no.
At least in the
dude
limited
fucking-
stories we've
they
heard.
both grabbed. They grabbed this thing.
yeah,
yeah.
it seems there.
They jumped on it.
Nothing.
The dude in the woods and
it
the kids
didn't
did.
disappear in a wisp of smoke
No,
and a
it
puff
got
of
caught and it
sulfur.
screamed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It got grabbed and it was
that's-
like, and you're like,
Yeah.
get the fuck away
yeah,
from me
that
forever.
is true.
Great. That thing has a great defense
Right, it
mechanism
could-
too. Yeah.
Well, it's
Right.
butt ugly and screeches
And it's got totally.
and kicks you with its little stumps.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds
really
like a
little-
goose.
Actually, kind of does sound like a goose.
So is it mangy goose?
Yeah, are we unidentified goose?
No.
Okay, the first one, they were at war with geese. The second one, it was actually a goose, and it's like, fuck off.
Goose.
I want to be with my friends.
Oh shit! All right.
It's a goose misunderstanding.
Oh, all right. Chris is gonna go with goose misunderstanding.
And I'm telling
There
you,
it is.
as much as I am fucking loath for this, I will
Man.
not take chlorophyll off the table.
I know you won't.
Dude, because if
You
this
want
thing
to
is
be
a plant,
chlorophyll. I don't feel like
if
it
it
is.
gets its nutrition from sun, if it can lay dormant in the branches of a tree
If.
and eat,
If.
Well, everything's if. Gee, and the unknown is always if.
If
you
the,
really,
if
gonna
the
do this?
government's involved,
Oh, if it's what if it's a
if-
military maneuver? Misidentified military maneuver. Then what? Rob.
So the-
Yeah,
no,
answer
I'm
that.
not, no. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I believe George Washington's colonial government
yeah.
fucking put early
Where do
fucking
you think
plant
it starts,
monsters.
dude? Where do you think it starts?
The French invented
GW.
them. No, it's way before GW.
No, George Washington.
God,
Oh,
even
I thought you
before?
meant George W. Bush. Oh, you threw me
No,
off.
that's the
Well,
whole
that's GW.
Illuminati
I was going to say,
satanic
there's
9/11.
no
What are you
before
talking
George
about?
Washington.
How dare you?
Well, all right, fine.
Okay, my God.
So George Washington,
Yes.
working with French scientists,
Yes.
No.
built plant man soldiers,
100%.
planted them in the Northeast,
Truth.
in a way to defeat the British, but also to keep the Cherokee at bay.
This sounds
but
great.
Could not have anticipated the threat of geese.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't know that they would be mortal enemies.
No one sees the sand crane wiping out your fucking phenomenal bioweapon.
Never. Ever.
GW didn't know.
No.
The real GW, not the one I fucking falsely thought.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're all in agreement then. George Washington created sentient plant elephant baby creatures.
He didn't create. He just found.
He sanctioned their creation.
There you go.
I assume French scientists, they were cutting edge of the day, but Ben Franklin was certainly involved. He's too smart not to be.
No, they were there. He recruited them.
So you think they already existed?
Think about it. The Cherokee, they were there already. He found them out.
Right. Then recruited them into his little fold.
He found them out.
So he found these creatures.
Sure did.
Conscripted them.
Yeah.
Duh.
Now they're working for America.
It's kind of like the rebels and the Ewoks.
They were.
Until when did they stop?
When geese fucked them up.
Yeah, when they died from the cranes.
Yeah, but then they still showed up in 56 and 81. So what was this? Were these rogue pockets of post-crane fucking agents?
I don't even know if those 81 ones were the same thing. They might have been mutated descendants.
Yeah.
Of these long-forgotten warrior weeds.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, we nailed it.
Yeah, we got it. I'm trying to draw. I think that's going to do it.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
it. No, there's no way. We
can't.
If we got any closer to the truth, we'd all be assassinated in days.
That's why I'm stopping.
I have a wife and two beautiful children. I can't. I have to live.
No, I don't want to go to jail. I want to live outside of jail.
Yeah. Outside jail.
I don't want to live in an underground cube.
No, me neither.
All right.
You know that. There you go. That is going to do it for this episode of the Kryptonaut Podcast. Be sure to hit us up on the socials and let us know what you think about the Derry Fairy.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And its other sundry
and other
legends.
And fucking gooses and geeses. Is it geese, right? And geese, yeah.
Geese and ganders.
Geese and ganders, whatever.
Sand cranes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Fucking
I wonder how they related to owls.
Heron.
Yeah, they're probably all owls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Flatwood owls.
Instagram, Twitters, Facebooks.
You're just saying words.
I'm just saying words. Yeah, I'm tired. Be sure to leave your
Instagrams.
ratings and reviews for this podcast in iTunes, Apple Podcast apps. Check out our Big Cartel and our Public shop, and also our newly launched Patreon account.
Boom!
Or campaign. It's a campaign.
It's not an account.
I don't know.
You keep saying campaign.
We have an account,
I'm
but it's a campaign.
It's like a movement.
If you'd like to participate in our Patreon campaign, you can visit patreon.com/Kryptonaut Podcast. Yeah. There's a $1 tier, which you get a thank you, and then there's a $5 tier where you get bonus episodes and a thank you, and we have larger tiers coming. So
they're coming.
Jump on while you can.
Big sexy tears waiting in the wings.
There you have it, and we're talking to you soon.
Goodbye. Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
I said, good day, sir.
Don't talk to weeds.
No, and now all of our listeners, not all of them, but some of them are going to send me links for emotional plans that I got to send to you.
Believe.
Man.
Embrace it, and you're going to be part of the solution, not the problem.
Why don't every link they send me, you write a little dissertation on the article?
I'll tell you what I do. I thank them all, and I say, I'm going to lord it over these two.
You will.
I don't actually do it, but I always claim I will.
Warrior Romaine.
Boom.
Oh, shit. We'll be talking to you.
Goodbye.
That's all you got.
I know. I thought that was going to sound important.
You could have had a good three noise. Oh,
you're just like,
Jesus, you're terrible.
Good day, sir.
There's nothing I can do that is right anymore.
No, I love you. Goodbye.
Bye.